community, all of them. At the end, I were in San Diego. San Diego community is a twin community to Sha'ar HaNegev.
Sha'ar HaNegev is a municipality.
Our municipality of all the kibbutzim near the border. What can I tell you? You want to hear what happened?
Yes. If you want to say.
So, I live in Kibbutz Kafa Aza for 50 years. Before Mickey. 50.
No. Wrong.
5.
No, wrong. My husband was my madrich.
Yes, my husband was Mickey.
Counselor, yeah. That's why I blame you, because of him and the kibbutz.
Kafa Aza was very small, and we together built it to a wonderful community, wonderful place, wonderful kibbutz. Some years ago, I used to say that we live in 25% of Eden and 5% of hell. And we all the time try to less the hell and make big the Eden. And it was a wonderful place to live. I have 3 children, was born and raised in Kafa Aza. 2 of them live in Kafa Aza, and they were in this awful Sabbath with us. All of us, we have our home in 3 different places in the kibbutz. Me and my husband were in the eastern side, my son in the middle of the kibbutz, and my daughter with 2 little kids in the western side and the border of Sajaiya. On Saturday, 6:29, we heard a horrible noise, and I said to my husband, you know, there is a missile to Tel Aviv now. I'm wondering what we done in Gaza because they throw this missile. And this is because we heard the missiles go out before there is an alarm. We live so close to the border. And in a few minutes, there is a lot of missiles all over, and we understood that we must go to the shelter room. And from our bedroom, it was early in the morning, to go to the shelter room. From our bedroom to the shelter room, we need to cross our house. It's not a big one, it's a kibbutz house, but when we are going, we pass the kitchen, that there is a window that can I look outside. And I look outside and saw 3 big men stand on my entrance. They were black suits with a white band on their head. And my husband say, oh, this is the emergency group of the kibbutz. And I told him, they didn't look like this, it's like Purim. And they began to speak Arabic, so we understand something is not usually. And in a minute, a lot of people like this become rounded around. Sorry, just a minute. אני שנייה מגיעה, בסדר? And we rush to the shelter room, close the door, and don't know what happened.
They didn't come into your house?
They stand in the entrance of my house, but they didn't enter yet. It was the beginning. I think this is the time they began to think what we will do. So they didn't enter. 5 or 10 minutes after it, they began to kill our neighbors.
The shelter that you went into, how close was it to your home?
No, inside.
It's
in the home.
in my
It's like a room in the house.
Yeah.
the outside of my door.
It's
my
concrete
entrance door.
room with the metal door,
Uh-huh.
big one.
Yeah. יכול לסגור את הדלת?
No.
No.
Sh-
Because
of
I
the-
heard that the doors don't lock.
נכון.
No, because this is the way they build the shelter house,
Just for
a
the
shelter
bomb.
room, for that you can
rockets.
open from outside if somebody hurt inside.
Something
you
happened,
can-
you want,
yes.
that you won't be stuck inside and they can't
that's how
take
they
you
can
out.
take you out.
Pull you out.
It was designed for the bombs, for the missiles.
Not for
It was
terror.
not designed for the for shooters.
Yes.
So
Yes.
So you
Yes.
went into the
terrorists.
shelter and then what?
So we stay in the shelters and we began to talk on the WhatsApp family group to hear what happened to our daughter and son. And they said we are okay and all of this. And my daughter said there is a lot of shooting outside here. It's horrified. And I told her, yes, here near us it's also. And we don't know what to do because there is nobody that can we talk with. In the WhatsApp group of the kibbutz, we began to hear that a lot of terrorists all over the kibbutz, and this family was shooted, and people shouted, "They kill us, they burn us," and there is nobody that answer to our shouting. At about 12 o'clock, we lost the contact with our daughter, and from this hour, we don't hear from him, and we don't know what happened to her and to the two children.
עד היום? מה?
לא, זה שם מעניין.
It's a good ending, yes. But on this time, we don't know what happened. In this time, suddenly, I got an alarm in my phone that told me there is a movement in your car. And I remember that I have a new car with a new camera that take pictures all over the area and 24/7. And the car was stand in the area over the opposite, the enter of the neighborhood, and I can see all what happened in this area. So I entered to the camera, and I was close in the shelter room and can see what happened outside. And I saw that is a lot of terrorists outside.
So you're watching from the app on your car, the car camera,
Yes.
live what was the...
Live, what happened. And I saw a lot of terrorists, and I saw that many bombs and RPG, and it was awful. And all the time, the missiles all over our head, and the Iron Dome also, and the noise so noisy and so loud. And I can't tell nobody that there is a big thing that happened because we have nobody that can we talk. There is no soldiers in the kibbutz. And the time is going and going. We are without water, without food, without the way to go to the restroom. We locked in our shelter room. On 5 o'clock at evening, I suddenly saw a group of 3 terrorists came with a lot of ammunition, like all the army, going to the house of our neighbor. And on this time, there is a soldier in the kibbutz, and I have a phone of one of the commanders, and I call him and tell him, please send immediately soldiers here, otherwise this family will kill because they come in a lot of ammunition and they will kill them. I send him the picture from the camera and I send him the map where is the house. And after some minutes, I heard a horrible fight. It was darkness outside yet, so I can't see in the camera what happened, but I heard a lot of noise and bombing and all of this, and suddenly it became silent. And I don't know what happened. And we are in the shelter room and we don't know what to do. Nobody talked with us. Nobody said something to do. And the time is over and we don't know what happened to our daughter because we try to talk with her and there is no answer. My son was in his room and we talk sometimes. At about 5 o'clock in the morning, we heard bombing on our door and somebody shoot, there is anybody at home, and we don't answer. And they call more and more times and we don't answer because we're afraid that this is the terrorist. And then we heard somebody broke the door and entered to our house, and they call us, please, somebody home, we are the army. I asked, which army are you? And they said me, we are Givati, please open the shelter room. And I say to my husband, we must open because if they don't try to open it, so maybe it's really the army and we have nothing to do. We must open and we can see what happened. So we opened and it was the army, and they told us, please take yourself and go out immediately. So we tried to do it, and they began shooting to our house from outside. So they tell us, please go back to the shelter room. We're going to take care of this and we will come back. So we wait another 1 hour and a half. And they came back and they took us out near the houses to the field like our house, and we began to crawl in the field. All over our head there is a shooting, and they said, please don't put your head on because there is terrorists all over. We saw a lot of bodies around us. It was terrorist bodies and our friends' bodies. And we crawling about 2 kilometers until we get to the point out of the kibbutz. That was the safe point. And a lot of soldiers were sitting there, and I don't understand why they are sitting there and don't come into the kibbutz, because in the kibbutz it was the war of all over the world that can happen. And then they said us, okay, please go in the bus outside of this area. And I told them I'm not going out until my daughter and their kids and my son will go out. We are not leaving them here. And then I began to go from officer one of another, about 4 hours. I were going from one officer to another and begging, please go and find my daughter and my grandchildren, because from yesterday noon we not heard from them. Her children are so little that they can't survive by themselves. Please go. After 4 hours, one guy came to me and said me, I'm going to rescue Rotem. And I look at him and he said me, yes, I'm a friend of her. We learned together in high school. So we go and bring her. She was about 32 hours in the shelter room. at Sunday noon,
How old are the kids?
5 and 7.
What happened to the phone? It died or didn't have service?
I'll tell you in a minute. They came out at 2:30 Sunday. It was really a miracle. They were very tired. They didn't have water, money, food, nothing for 32 hours. And then they told us, okay, go out. And they said, no, I have another son here, and we must go also to rescue him. And then I go another way to all the soldiers, please come and give him. After he was in the shelter room about 36 hours, and he came out. And then at Sunday evening we came here, and then I heard what happened to my daughter. She lived in the,
Next to my daughter.
yes, she lived in the western neighborhood near the border of Gaza, and there was a lot of terrorists. They came with parachute to the area, and when all it's begin, the children were asleep, and they sleep in the shelter room because this is her bedroom, and they didn't awake from the noises. They have a good genes. She took her phone and the tablet of the children and closed all over the house and entered to the shelter room and closed the door. And in meanwhile, the children awake, and she told them that there is dangers outside and that they must stay in the shelter room. It's not easy for children that didn't used to stay in the same place a long time, but they really understood the situation and they were very quiet. And all the time she heard the war outside her house, and she heard that her neighbor was shot by a terrorist. And about 11 o'clock, she got a call phone from her neighbor before her, Omer, and he told her, Rotem, they shoot me, I wounded. And she explained him how to make
Tourniquet.
Jose
Jose Moroccan, yeah.
Rotem, she is paramedic. So she explained him how to do it, and she told him, Omer, it will be okay if the blood is not going on. Enter to the shelter room, close the door, and in I think 1 hour or 2 I can come and take care of you. And he said, thank you, and this is his last words. And meanwhile, the next neighbor, Ronen, called her and said, Rotem, the terrorists are in our house. Please call somebody to help us. And the phone was connect, and she heard a big noise. The door of her house was opened, and she heard Arabic in her house. She tried to back the handle of the door. They will not open, but they shoot to the door. It's open a little. They shoot into the shelter room. The shooting scratch her, but not go into her. It's fixed to the cupboard. They opened the door, and there is a 6 terrorists with long guns against her. So she stood before them, the children in the back, and she said to them in English, in a voice like I'm speaking now, I'm here alone with 2 children. And they look around and going outside, talk themselves, and one of them came back and say, we will not hurt you. One of them take a chair, enter to the shelter room. She sat with the children on the bed, they with the gun against her, and all the others go all over the house, make a big mess, and eating and drinking, and they take her phone. This is the reason that we have no contact with her, and after this we don't know what happened, and she has no connection to anybody. They take a picture of her with the children in their hands, and they put it in all the social media. I don't see it. Luckily, I don't see it, but many people saw it, and they sure that she's not with us anymore, or maybe in Gaza. And they began to check all over the house. They found that she has the keys of a car, so they asked the code, and she will show them where is the car. And then they found a card of military reserve. She officer in the army, and they said, okay, you are an officer, you have a gun, please give us the gun. Please give us the gun. And she said, I have no gun at home. I have children, I have no gun. They don't believe her, and they look for it, and she said, you are at my house, please look for, and if you can find, you can take it, but they didn't find. And then they saw a picture of all the family, the children and the father, and they asked where he is, and luckily he was in a hospital after an accident car. So he was not at home, he was in hospital. And she said he is not at home, and they don't believe. They opened all the cupboard and all of this to look for him. They didn't find him. And all the time they asked when he come back, and she said he will not come back yet, he in the hospital. And then they asked her, please tell us where is all the soldiers? Why there is no soldier here? And she want to tell them, she also asked where is the soldiers, and she has no answer. And they say all the time, where is the soldier? They thought there is a tricky way or something that the soldier wait for them, but there are no soldiers.
How much time were they in?
It was about
the house?
6 hours after it's all the beginning, and there is no soldier in the kibbutz. At her house, about 3 hours. After 3 hours, they close the door and go. And she stayed with the children, and there is no water and no food and no nothing, and the children very thirsty and very hungry, and she can't
Did she
go
go back into the house after they left, or she stayed in the bomb
She
shelter?
stayed in the bomb shelter, yes. She can't go out.
Is she here?
Yes. The terrorists took the guns against the children.
הבת שלך פה עם הילדים?
כן.
סיפור מטורף.
לא כאן. Yes, they have it.
No one should ever see that. 5 children see that. They know what I'm saying. Anyone should ever see that.
And it's not the end of the story, because she stayed at home, And the hours going and going, and nobody come to do something or to help her. And at night there is another group of terrorists that came her house. And she heard the Arabic all over the house, but maybe because the house was very messy and they thought that somebody.
I was already here.
Yes,
No point to waste our time.
So they going around the house and go out. And the morning of Sunday become again, and there is no help, and they sitting and waiting until I send her friend to take her. And now she's here with the children, and meanwhile the father was going out of the hospital, and all of us offered them here, and it's not easy, really not easy. Children in this age to yes.
When you were able to escape and you left the area, there was a lot of soldiers that were outside of the gate?
It was a lot of soldiers.
And they were just
Tens or thousands or hundreds of soldiers sit out in the gas station near the kibbutz. A lot of soldiers, and nobody come in the house. They said we didn't get the order, or I don't know, really don't know. It was.
So it sounds to me that things were very random. Some people
Yes.
random.
Yes.
It depends on what terrorists you got to talk to, or
It depends, I think, on many things, but I think that this terrorist came to her after 6 hours. That I'm sure they kill a lot of people.
right.
They were tired. They came to her to rest. They eat drinking and all of this. They want to take her, we suggest, we don't know really, but they took their key of the car because they want to take her with her car to Gaza, because they did it with neighbors of her.
Same thing.
But we understood now that the car was injured, of total loss, so they can't use the car. So they left her. Otherwise, she may be in Gaza.
so it's very random who got kidnapped and who got killed.
Yes, it's very random, and I think that I must say that even our family had a good luck, a very, very huge luck. There is no any mercy or any humanity in what all happened there. Even these terrorists that were in her house are not humanity or kindness. That's why I did in this moment, but not because they are humanity or that think about people.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
After, to you and Mickey, after all that happened, will you go back to Kafa Aza?
It's early to say.
Well,
For this moment, we have a war there. The war will take a year, that people said in Israel, and it depends what happened in Gaza. Who will stay there, who will live there. In the situation that we live before the 7th, we will not go back to Gaza. I think nobody will go
we
back
paid
to
our
Gaza.
price. Heavy
Sure did.
price.
And something that for me it's very touchy, that on February 23 I had an exhibition. I am a photographer, and I have an exhibition with photographers from Gaza.
Wow.
We make a cooperation of the exhibition. I show my side of the fence, and he showed his side of the fence, and it was about something so optimistic And so people say maybe the people from the nation, not the politics, can be something that make the people live together.
Did he contact you after? Did he call you after October 7th?
He
Did
contacted
the
me.
photographer call
He
you?
contacted me on the 7th, 10 o'clock in the morning. After that, he don't talk with me about the half a year. From March 23, we don't talk. On Saturday, at 10 o'clock in the morning, he called me and began to ask me many questions. Some of them, there is soldiers, where is the soldier, and all of this.
Oh, yeah.
And I understood that I must close the phone.
Yes.
And
The check.
the Shabak is now on this situation.
Wow.
Wow.
Did a lot of people, white people from Gaza in Gaza?
A little, I think, in the new houses that built, maybe they're to that.
They always.
What can we do? How can we help? We're here, we're hearing your story, but what else could we do to help?
Coexistence?
No.
I think that you must understand that the need you can help us is a long term. The things is not finished this month, 2 months. It's a long run term. You ask if we will go back to Kafa Aza, maybe, but it will take 3 years at least. So you will be in touch with us and
Do you
we
still have the
together.
photographs from the exhibition?
Yes.
Would you-
And
We wanted to buy them from you, buy some, would you be willing to, just so we can feel like we're trying to help?
I have today a meeting with the guy who helped me to make this exhibition. And we are going to make a new exhibition that based on the old one, but show how our world has changed.
Change before and
Yes,
after.
I don't know yet how it will be, but the guy tell me, the last exhibition were about 7,000 people were in my exhibition, and they were astonished. And he said, in the new exhibition will be 700,000.
So the expensive
And-
photos.
And we will show all the world what happened.
What's your name? I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Batya Holin.
Pauline?
Holine? How do you spell Holine?
Holin.
Where
Gotcha.
can we see this collaboration that you did?
We don't want to see collaboration, we want to see
I don't want to see collaboration, I just want to see yours.
The exhibition had in December to be in San Diego. They invited it before half a year ago, but I don't. בכפר עזה.
בכפר עזה?
כן.
את יודעת מה המצב?
כן. הם בסדר.
הם בסדר.
אני הולכת לארוז אותם. פה בשפיים יש גלריה, והם ביקשו שאני אעשה תערוכה בחנוכה.
של
תגידי
שני
בניו יורק.
הצדדים?
לא.
רק שלך.
הצד שלו לא יהיה אצלי יותר.
Wow.
They canceled him? They canceled his exhibit? In San Diego, not you, I'm saying in San Diego. You pull that, right?
I don't want to make it.
You're right.
It's not exist anymore.
נכון.
I can't say that the meaning of this exhibition is not it's not anymore exist.
Batya, how many people lived on the kibbutz before, and where are the survivors now?
It was about 950 people in Kafa Aza, and most of us live in Shfaim, and there is a people in Tel Aviv and all around this area.
And they are kidnapped.
And how many were kidnapped in your,
18.
I think they said about 58 murders. How many?
62.
62.
No, 63.
But another question.
Yeah, they told us
before
58
this,
and 18.
you were really optimistic about peace. You said you did, and then like, how is that? That like when you really thought you could make peace, all of a sudden you see that there's nothing, there's no answer on the other side. So like, did you change your whole outlook on life?
Yes, I changed. It changed. I can't think that you know, when I heard the people who work in the dining Arabic, I afraid so. I can't hear the language.
I thought that you were always like very optimistic about a peace. With
Yes, I'm
always
very.
that was-
You know, people who live in Kafa Aza, near this border, can't live if you are not optimistic. Otherwise, you can't live in this area. We, all of us, were very optimistic. The neighborhood where is my daughter live, you know that she is and her neighbor from near her, the two families that alone from all the neighborhoods, all the others were killed. There are two families from a neighborhood of 22 families.
20 out of the 22 were killed.
Yes. And but this neighborhood is a neighborhood of young people with little children. They build their houses by themselves. They spend a lot of money to build these houses, and they believe that there is a good life and can be a good life in this area. Otherwise, they will not do it.
Everybody is of the same opinion now.
Nobody is.
She's there 50 years. She saw them being moved from Gush Katif. They were optimistic. They lived next to friends that were moved.
Yes.
They gave them land.
Okay, are we ready?
You were there 50 years. In the 50 years, did you guys have any sort of attacks whatsoever, physical, on your settlement, or this was it?
No.
50 years, was there ever threats?
Rockets.
Yes,
Rest
we
all
are,
the
we are
time.
22 hours in a war that they throw missiles all over our heads.
No, she's saying.
But it's
No,
not
but I
the
mean,
same.
like along the 50 years, there were threats of violence on the kibbutz as you guys were living there year to year, or not really?
It's not like this.
Just missiles.
Missiles.
That would land in the kibbutz, in other words.
Yeah.
So, Bacha and Mickey, on behalf of our little group here, we're amazed at your courage. We're amazed at your courage for moving 50 years ago to a kibbutz on the border of hell. We're amazed at your courage for living there for 50 years and bringing up your children. They should live a long life. We're amazed at your courage in the way you tell the stories. Just matter of fact. Really without a lot of emotion. I have to contain myself from crying. If I was you, I wouldn't be able to breathe, let alone talk to a group like this. So we appreciate the time you've given us. We're here to support you, whatever we can, financially or otherwise. Please reach out to us. Don't hesitate.
Thank you.
We're always here to help.
Thank you very much. Thank you that you heard these stories, and I think it's something very,
Very important.
very hard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
תודה.
היא חייבת, גם אני.
Yeah.
You
You won't.
Thank you.